let's take a look at the straps that are going to be in your kit. There should be 4. Now, some of you will get a kit that the straps are made out of ribbon, so your job is easy. You don't need to do anything but sew them in. For those of you who get 4 pieces of fabric looking about like this, you're going to need to assemble them or sew them up. So, I know the traditional way would be to turn them like this, and then I want you to, if you do this, I want you to take a very healthy 1/2-inch seam. Do not do a 1/4-inch seam, please. They're not cut for that. So, or you can do what I've done, fold them in half, iron it, then turn that to the inside. You can see I'm even doing more than a 1/2-inch into the inside. When the straps are too wide, they don't tie nicely. So more seam allowance is better in this case. All right, so here's a little trick we got pretty good at during COVID. If you will get yourself a pin and secure it to your ironing surface, and then get your fold started. And I'm going to iron that just so that it doesn't want to keep popping up on me. Okay. And by the way, get yourself a iron like this or an iron like this. Black & Decker sells one that is phenomenal, and it's large capacity water, gets really nice and hot. That's key. You want steam and heat. And this just happened to be one I found on clearance one day when I walked into the Joann store, so that's why I have that one. I got this one so I could have a handy iron when I go to quilt camp. And I like it pretty good. It doesn't get as hot as this, and neither one of these get as hot as the Black & Decker. So I'm telling you, if you go to Amazon, they're about $39. It's a great one. If you want, I can put a link in the description area of this video, and then you can find it easily. All right, so here's how this is going to work. I can slide it forward. Now I've got a second hand, so I can hold this down with my left hand, iron, and then you're still going to have to guide the fabric, fold it to the middle and then guide it through. This pin is just being your third hand, actually. And I don't want them peeking out that much. See that? So let's just open this up and tuck them in a little bit better. If you have to, you can scratch it with your fingernail and it'll stay. Then I should be able to iron that whole thing. So, how quick and easy is that? Now, to do this, all I'm going to have to do is top stitch right down that side and I'm done. None of that turning, putting a pin on it and turning it right side out, which to me is just a slow boat to China. So I have my 4 straps ready for top stitching. Now that we're ready for the top stitching, I'm over at the sewing machine. You'll notice there's a piece of red underneath the foot of my machine. That's called a whippet. And a whippet just helps you avoid the needle unthreading and making bird nests. So any fabric will do, doesn't matter, just a scrap, and put that underneath there before you get started. Sew across it, then move on to your project. I'm sewing across the open end, the folded edges that are together, but you'll notice that I missed closing the one raw end of each strap that will be hanging loose on the garment. So it does need to be sewn across. I'm going to attach a little remediation video, and it works fine doing it after the fact like I ended up doing, or if you press one end in at the same time that you're doing the rest of the pressing, then you can just do this all in one step. But always remember, you do not leave raw tails, you're sewing, at the edge of any project. So when you get to the end of your strap and go across to close that one end up, you're going to want to back stitch and end somewhere in the middle of that piece. All right, here we are doing the remediation of the strap end that I forgot about when I was ironing earlier in this series. So I simply folded it under on the open end and got everything lined up very nice and tidy. And then I started a good inch and a half up the strap so that when I stitch, I can just cut my strings right at the fabric. There won't be any pressure point that can pull them out, And this avoids having little tails sticking out on the garment or needing to tie a knot. If you're really particular, you could take a needle and run them inside the tails if you wanted to. But just overstitching, like I did, will do the trick. Also right here, I'm showing that you don't want to be ending at the edge. Never do that. So back stitch into that end about halfway, and then cut your strings there. So at the very edge of the strap, there is no loose string. Very important.